Hi, welcome to the Affinity Photo video tutorial on procedural texture and creating a nice dot design like this. This is a lovely design where it's sort of colours are coming out and it's based on a source design. So what you can do, you can vary the whole image just by having an underlying image, say a gradient, a photo, whatever, and it will vary the end result. So I'm just going to start from a basic preset. But first, before I go any further, the key thing here is R, G and B. Make certain you've got R, G and B in the equation, and that will then modify the end result based on the underlying image. So let's just cancel. Here's the gradient there. Now to find the filter and go down to colors and procedural texture. Unfortunately by default it always goes back to a complete fresh, and also you have to drag it out every time. I don't know why they just can't remember. It would be nice if they stored the fact that I've increased the size, because of course that's what I want. I want a bigger thing. However, it always goes back to the same default. Very strange. So you've got presets, and I'm going to go from the point of smooth bars. You should have this one. This one's one of the default ones, unless you've deleted it, of course. That's always possible. And all it is a smooth OSC, and you can change that as well. There's a number of OSC smooth options that you can use. And it's RX times A, etc. Well, I'm going to select that, and I'm just going to go plus. Simple as that. Well, of course, at the moment, there's not really much change. In fact, there's hardly anything changed other than it's just slightly brighter. But what you can do, you can put, instead of RX, and that's obviously got that design, you can put RY. And you can see straight away you've got a grid. Well, you can modify this. You can go for times R, and that uses the underlying image, that gradient I showed you. So times R, and again over this side as well, times R. And you can see then you've got that gradient. Obviously, if it was a slightly different gradient, you would see a very different result. And you've got these custom inputs here, so you can modify it 24, just change that, and you can see as you increase it, decrease it, it changes. And also you've got here smooth, and you can see it becomes like very sharp. You've got see there, and if you go there, it's a slightly more blurred sort of circular design or diamond design. What you can then do is, instead of using R, I'm going to be using G and B across the channels. So I'm just going to copy that. So Control C, or edit and copy, and then you can use paste obviously into the other channels. But I'm just going to quickly add the other channels just by going here. That's where you can add the other channels. So plus and plus. And you can see what happens then. Of course, the picture goes. However, you can put those in again, and you've got them there. However, I don't want R obviously for the channel, so I want to use G in the other one, which is green. So G, and G there. And of course, for the next one, B, which is going to be blue. There's still actual variables that are used, or constants, I suppose, that are used as standard. So you can't use R, G and B. If you go down the bottom and try and put a custom input where you sort of use R or RX, etc., it won't let you do that. Well, if it does let you do it, it's going to go wrong. It's not going to, it won't know what to do. So R, G and B you shouldn't use, other than here in this context, not down here. So you've got those in there, times R, times G, and all those things. Now what you can do now is go over here. And this is the channel. So at the moment I've got R, G and B. These ones have got alpha. Well, I don't want alpha. But I can deselect that one there. So I'm just going to have the red. Just R is just set. That's all that's set. Here I'm going to have the green. So the green set, I'll get rid of that. I don't want the alpha. And the B set. So I've got R, G and B just down in that sort of diagonally. And you can see now I've got it like that. What I can now do, I can modify these additionally with some parameters or custom inputs down here. Let's just increase the size a bit, and I can push this up to there. Because obviously I'm not going to add any more equations. I could, of course, but I'm not going to add any additional equations there. And I'm going to say, instead of RX times A, I can actually I could put times E times whatever, but I'm going to use A there. I'm going to use C below. So I'm just going to put C there. And again, of course, it will disappear again because there isn't a C and a D. And I'm going to go this side, a C and a D there as well. Okay, so now I need some custom inputs, and I'm going to go with the same. And this was an A up here, and the A up here is a Z, and now that's just down here, it's just an integer. So I'm just going to use, might as well use the same, perfectly reasonable. I've got C and D brought back in. Now needs a value, and it's currently 34. So let's just go with the same value, 34 and 34. So you got it back like that. You don't have to keep it 34. You can actually say 33. You can see straight away, you can see the effect of doing that. So you can vary it that way. But also what you can do, you can also modify it in here as well. That time there. And I could put different values for each of the channels, perfectly reasonable as well, but I'm just going to use the same custom input for all of them. So times E, and I'm going to go times E, and again it will vanish because that of course doesn't exist down here yet, and times E. And I can quickly go down. Now I'm going to use R. That's a real value, so it's 0.2, 0.3, those sort of things. So you can get a nice, very subtle values there. R, and I'm also going to create an F very quickly as well. And I'm going to put a value for that, 0.2 and 0.7. Now the F is for the other side. So I've got here the E there for the RX, and I've got for the RY, I'm going to be using times, strange enough, F. So times F and times F, and you can see then the end result there. What you can do, you can then go, well, let's just change the values here, 32. You can vary those, and you can vary these. So you can go for 0.7, make it a bit brighter. You can also go for this one. You can go for minus 0.5, and you can vary it in numerous ways. Let's go for, or 2.3. You can create that design, and you can also vary this as well, which makes it nice blurry. Let's just resize this again. So you can see the actual thing there. And I can just change that. Now if I click here, it goes to 1.7. Not so useful, but you can always just type it in. I find it easier with R just to type it in. 0.7 or 1.2. And you can experiment 1.2 and so on and so on. Create different designs there, and you can gain that blurriness. You can also change that, 33, 38, and you can vary those, and so on and so on. So you can create a whole range of different colourful designs. Now, once you've done that, you can click apply, but it's always a good idea to save it as a preset. So you can go up here, and you can go there, and you can create a preset. Now, obviously I've created it already, but I'm just going to quickly create a preset again. So create preset and go for, give it a name, smooth grid 2. Obviously that one, and I'm going to put it in channel adjustments. Not particularly. I haven't created a category for it, so, and I can click create. Now once you've done that, what you can also do, you can actually go down now to the bottom here, and you've got here another preset. So you've got preset here, so you've got all these presets, but you can also have presets which are for these. So you can store for this. You can set up a whole load of different presets. I can just go up here and I can say, well at the moment obviously I haven't created anything different, so obviously that's the default. The default, it says there default, but say I change that. So make it burst further out there, or maybe make it sharper, something like that. Then what I can do, I can go here and I can create a values preset, and I can call it originally preset 1. Great. And also I can go and vary something else so you can see that, and maybe make it blurry. I prefer the blurriness one. And again, create value preset, and I can call it preset 2. And you can create, obviously, I don't know if there's a limit, to be honest. So you can vary that, and you can go the other way, and so on and so on. Now it won't go down below 0 there, but what you can do, you can enter a value below 0. So 0.4, say. So you can change it, and you can vary this. And then once you've done that, you can always go up here again, create values preset. Will only allow you to create value preset if it is different. So that's the key thing. So preset. I don't know if it checks to see if it hasn't already got this preset already. It probably has got a feature to do that. Haven't tried that. But basically it will refuse to. Now you can see I can't enter it. But I don't know if it's like further down it might. I don't know if it goes through the whole test. However, once you've done that, click apply. Now what you can do, and I'm going to quickly go and change this gradient now, so I'm just going to create another gradient, just a very basic gradient like that, and I can then go to repeat procedural texture. So I can just apply it and you can see the end result there. Or I can go in here, filters, and go to colours and procedural texture. And I can go over here and I can go to smooth grid 2. That was just the one I created. And you can see and then I've got my presets. So I can run through presets, preset 2, preset 3. And again, you can see because obviously that was there. It's not. And you can modify this, you can modify, change things there again, and click apply. And you can keep doing that, obviously changing all. But of course, this is just a standard layer. What you can do, you can apply other filters to it. So filters, you can go like to distort and deform, and then go take that, and you go for say similarity, and then you can just add some pins to it, and then just drag there and distort your lovely design, create all kinds of weird and wonderful designs that way. You can drag it from over there and click apply. And of course what you can also do, you can duplicate the layer. So you don't have to keep this layer just as it is. You can just simply go to a layer and you can then duplicate it. And of course once you've duplicated it, you can then maybe rotate it. If it lets you do it. Yeah, just rotate it very quickly. And of course then you've got blending modes, so you can run through blending modes, maybe different, and you can create a design like that very quickly based on procedural texture as well as the deform, of course. And then of course once you've done that, you can actually use that, maybe use that in procedural texture as a source design. So you've got this design, what you can do, you can go to layer, adjustments, and you can go down to black and white because it does require black and white. Well, it doesn't require black and white, but it just requires the black and white values. I just wanted to show you the black and white. And of course what you can do, you can vary it. So you can just vary that. And then obviously you can use blending modes as well if you want. Obviously it defeats the purpose in terms of turning it black and white. And you've got that. And then you can of course go to a layer and you can merge visible. So it's all merged into one pixel layer, which of course you can then bring back into the procedural texture, filters, and go to colours and procedural texture. And again it defaults to empty and smooth grid again. And you can see this time obviously it uses that. You can still see the structure there as it goes through, and you can still vary these values. So you can go through the presets like that. And of course you still can edit these. You don't have to keep them, they're not forever. You can go up here and you can tweak it, maybe add some other effects to it, maybe go, you know what, I think let's just put square root around it, bracket, and so on and so on. So you can vary them, and actually you can create some very interesting designs simply by doing that sort of thing. Just simply adding signs to them, square roots, just try them out, experiment, and then add other factors here, maybe times 10. You don't have to, of course, go for custom inputs. You can always use times, say, 12, or divide it. Maybe you think, you know what, maybe it requires dividing, and so on and so on. A whole load of different things you can do. Well, I hope you found this tutorial of interest. Always adding new tutorials all the time about Photoshop, Illustrator, Affinity Photo, Affinity Designer, and many, many others. Also, any questions, any comments, please let me know in the comments section. Maybe I went too fast, maybe I didn't explain it particularly well. Please let me know. Also, a dislike or a like. Always appreciated either way. Thank you much.